Before the iPhone, before the Mac, before the world changed with a swipe of a finger, he was a barefoot college dropout, a seeker, a young man who believed that the people crazy enough to think they could change the world are the ones who actually did. His name was Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was born in 1955 in San Francisco, but his birth parents gave him up. He was adopted by Paul and Clara Jobs, a working-class couple who couldn't give him much, except a love of machines and a garage to tinker in. Even as a kid, Steve saw the world differently. At school, he was bored and restless, often in trouble. At home, he took apart radios, televisions, anything with wires. He was drawn to beauty, to simplicity, and to the idea that technology could be personal. He dropped out of college, slept on friends' floors, walked miles for free meals, and traveled to India to search for spiritual clarity. But what he found was a vision. In 1976, in a small garage in Cupertino, Steve Jobs and his friend Steve Wozniak started a revolution. Their invention, the Apple I, a handmade personal computer. Jobs wasn't the engineer, he was the visionary. He believed computers didn't belong just to scientists. They belonged on every desk, in every home. Technology, he said, should be friendly, beautiful, human. By the time he was 25, Apple was worth over $100 million. He wore black turtlenecks, quoted calligraphy, and talked about art while launching machines. Then came the Macintosh in 1984, a computer with a mouse and a graphical interface. It smiled when you turned it on, but not everyone at Apple smiled with him. In 1985, after internal clashes, Steve Jobs was forced out of his own company, fired from Apple, the company he created. It broke him. But it didn't stop him. He said later, "The heaviness of being successful was replaced by the lightness of being a beginner again." He started a new company next, and bought a little animation studio no one wanted, called Pixar. Pixar would go on to change animation forever with hits like Toy Story, Finding Nemo, and WALL-E. Meanwhile, Next built software so good, Apple came back to buy it, and Steve Jobs returned to the company he founded. What followed was one of the greatest comebacks in business history: the iMac, the iPod, the iPhone, the iPad. Each product reshaped the world. Each one made technology disappear into simplicity. And through it all, Steve spoke not like a CEO, but like an artist. He called Apple the intersection of technology and the liberal arts, believed great design wasn't just how something looked, it was how it worked. In 2003, Steve was diagnosed with cancer. He kept working, thinner, quieter, but focused. He launched the iPhone in 2007 and changed the world, one touch at a time. In his 2005 Stanford speech, he said, "Remembering that you are going to die is the best way I know to avoid the trap of thinking you have something to lose." Steve Jobs died on October 5, 2011. He was 56. The world mourned. Not just a tech icon, but a man who taught us to think different. He once wrote, "We're here to put a dent in the universe. Otherwise, why even be here?" And maybe in every glowing screen, every swipe, every small device that holds our lives, his dent is still echoing. If you believe in stories that live beyond the screen, and in people who shaped the world in quiet, brilliant ways, subscribe to Lives and Letters. More stories are waiting to be told.